Alright, hello and welcome to every weapon in Peripeteia and other items as well. I try to do it in one take for each level and as quick as possible, so let's start. Tutorial. Tutorial starts with the cassette player, at least in earlier versions of Tutorial, and most definitely the demo build. You are able to pick up the cassette player that gives you 9,999 ammo. The same thing happens with the rocket launcher. So technically it is a weapon, but in newer versions it was, or at least the UI was changed. So I'm unsure if it still counts as a weapon, but honorable mention. Then we go to the three choices that Filament gives you when choosing a weapon. There are three options. The first one would be a Makarov with 2 mags. The second one would be a TOS 34. And the third one would be a Mosin Nagant M91 30 with 7.62 times 54 suppressor. I advise you to take the last one, not the TOS 34, because there is one SPAS 12 in the tutorial level, and I always advise taking the SPAS 12 over TOS 34. The Mosin Nagant is also unique to the tutorial level. I also have to mention that video is recorded during the early access phase, so we only have the tutorial level and till the Outskirts level, which was in earlier builds called Karabash. So let's just take the Mosin Nagant M9130, and we also have 3 augmentations that we can choose from. In this case, I would advise you to take the thermo optic camo, as you can get the Puppeteer very easily just down the stairs and to the left. You can find it on a shelf, so never take the Puppeteer in that case. And reflex enhancements you can get later on if you are willing to kill a handful of people. But we take the thermo optic camo for now, and you will understand shortly. Now we will take the intended route out of Filament's bar, and we jump up to the balcony, jump onto a walkway, and then get the saber, which is not unique to this level, but unique in this level to that one spot, and that is by grabbing it from a Topilek. Then we will climb up a sign, go onto a pipe, break a window, get into a little apartment. There we will find a TOS 36 revolver, as well as 1 bullet from a 8mm Nagant ammo box behind a few trash bags, as well as a hand-cracked flashlight. Both of these weapons are unique. Also, I will say unique to this level if it's something like the Mosin Nagant, and just unique if it's just a one-time item in this level. But you can, for example, you can only find one saber here, but you will be able to find the saber more times in other levels. Alright, then there's the Gardener. If you continue onwards, the thing is, in the newest version, the Gardener doesn't hold any weapons, but in earlier version, he held a gun that I don't know the name of, but in the files and in Unity, as well as the Blender files, it is designated as a P7. And the strange thing is, I asked the devs about it, and they said, no, it's not a P7, although it's always marked like that in the game files. So I'm very sorry about that, but yeah, in earlier versions, he had apparently a P7, which wasn't a P7. Then we will continue onwards over a broken building. There's also a few health fuses and ammo boxes, but I didn't put them in here in the script that I have. So check them out in that little building. It isn't much, but you know, if you take what you can get. Then we will jump onto that concrete statue of an eagle. We'll jump onto a walkway, go to a locker at the back where we will find an AK drum and a Makarov mag. Return to that statue, jump onto the other ledge, and you can get a VSSK from a locker. Down to the PSR office. If you kill a few soldiers there, you will get, I think 3 or 4 of them hold an FB Tantal. You can very easily, if you are in the station, there are 2 Polish elites. Both of the elites are holding Karabina Polon rifles, and one of them is even holding a ballistic reinforcement augment. If you puppeteer one of them, you can easily clear out the entire station. The commander of the station also holds no special weapon. Crazy girl behind the counter, she holds a PP-2000. A random civilian also holds a Tokarev, and as aforementioned, the commander holds nothing. If you continue onwards to the planetarium, Joy Cultist holdout Sivula will hold an SKS. there will also be 2 Mosins with laser pointers that are lying on the ground. I'm pretty sure that this is a bug, but it wasn't fixed up to this date. 13th of September 2025 is right now. So you can find 2 Mosin Nagants with laser pointers just lying on the ground there. Rest of the subcultists are holding 1 PP2000, 2 Mosins with laser pointers each, and 1 AK. Sivula's friend is also carrying a TOS 34 in the basement. You can find 3 more friendly subcultists. 2 of them are holding AKs, 1 of them is holding a Mosin, again with a laser pointer. If you then go to the vendor, he has an inventory from which you can buy a canned beer for 20 zloty, a grenade for 100 zloty, a box of 7.62 times 54 millimeter for 10 zloty, 8 millimeter Nagant for 60 zloty. Also with the 8 millimeter Nagant, I just advise you to always, whatever time you have, whatever opportunity you have, just take the 8 millimeter Nagant ammunition, however much it costs. There is also a box of 9.18 millimeter Makarov ammo for 150 zloty, a box of 5.45 times 39 millimeter ammo box, a 7.62 times 39 millimeter ammo box for 60 zloty, a 12 gauge box for 10 zloty, an energy fuse for 140 zloty, and 2 health fuses for 140 zloty each as well. And then we have 2 RPG rockets for 100 zloty each, a Jaffa cave for 12 zloty, and a large and a small battery for 50 zloty each. Then if you go to the church at the back, all of the subcultists there are hostile. 2 PKMs, 2 Mosin Nagants with laser pointers, 2 AKs, and 1 of them is holding a TOS 34 shotgun. There's also a health fuse at the back on the altar. Then there's the priest, which is hiding in the back with the cryostasis. Party is holding a unique weapon, the MP5K. If we go back, we can take the elevator and right to the top, and there will to the left be, go to the locker room, there will be to the left the locker, which holds a box of 12 gauge ammo and a Makarov magazine. If we then go to the basement, we will find again a unique weapon, which will be the Spaz 12, which will be held by one of the Joy cultists. And then there will be 3 more Joy cultists, which hold the Samapol Visor 58. There are 3 of them, and they are all in the Joy drug room. If you continue onwards to the fan, there will be 1 holding a TOS 34 and 1 holding another Samapol Visor 58. In the locker down there, there will be a small battery and an energy fuse. If we then continue onwards to the tunnel, we will come to a car that we can jump on and then break a little vent. If we enter, we reach the corpse hole where the priest was throwing down the PSR soldier corpses, and we will be able to find the Mauser 1910. Don't forget that the Mauser 1910 takes unique 8mm ammunition that is also the same that the Yugoslav M53 is holding. On ground level, there will also be certain trash cans. All of them on ground level hold 1 Makarov mag, 1 health fuse, 1 12 gauge ammo box, 1 box of 7.62 times 54mm ammo. There's also oil can silencer. Don't forget that if you shoot too much with it, it just falls off. And there will also be a box of 8mm Nagant ammunition. Take that one with you. There will be 2 PSR soldiers on ground level. They each hold an FB Tantal. There will also be a secret trash container at the back holding 4 Stashkin mags and 1 Makarov mag. Take the Stashkin mags most definitely with you. Silenced weapons are quite rare and extremely good in Peripeteia. If we then continue onwards, we will find a large staircase. Go up the entire staircase to find a unique weapon, the Yugoslav M53. It's very powerful, so if you have room to spare in your inventory, take that one with you. If we continue onwards, we will be able to find a gondola. Before you go in there, you can actually break one of the windows to your left on that bridge there, and then escape out there, go over all of the balconies to go back to Philemon's bar. Please take note that this route or this shortcut has now become redundant because of a certain new gondola that was added, but we'll get there when we get there. In the radio tower, we will fight against a bunch of communist insurgents. We can talk with them, and they are always angry at us, so you need to shoot them. You get from them a TOS 34, 6 AKs, 5 PKMs, and 5 Mosin Nagants. All of them, as always, with laser pointers. On the top floor, there's a locker with an LOP-50 flamethrower. A second Union officer will kill himself upon seeing you, and he will drop a stashkin. If we then continue onwards, we should go to the bottom of the radio tower, take a gondola to the priest, then go to the basement, then go to the bottom of the staircase, exit through there, and we should be able to find a few trash cans. There should be 3 Makarov magazines, 1 small battery, and 1 health fuse in them. If we now take a wire over the river, we should be able to reach the Roach Motel. In there, you will find the killing gun and 3 bullets. There will be a Joy Cultist leader. He holds a Matever 6 and an 8mm Nagant. You can drop the TOS 36 revolver if you like and replace it with the Matever 6. Only thing that you have to watch out for is that if you engage in dialogue with the Joy Cultist leader, he will always shoot you, so you should probably draw first. Also, he will have 4 Joy Cultists standing around him. Each of them holds an Ingram 10, which is the equivalent of a Mag 10. If you like Western weapons, then that's the place to take one. Back staircase in the main building on the other side of the river. On the way up there, very important, you probably hold a SPAS 12, as I advised you to take, and you can now use it to shoot Hana right in the face, which you most definitely should do. And then we can continue onwards to the top of the building, and there will be a crane, and besides the crane will be a locker which holds 2 rockets. If you then turn around, you are able to make a few precise jumps and reach a balcony over the garden from the garden at the beginning of the level. There will be an RPG rocket, and a health and energy fuse respectively. You can then jump over to another balcony and enter Hana's home. If you like to, you can pull the plug on her father, and if you haven't shot her before, now would obviously be the time for redemption and shoot her, shoot her, shoot her, shoot her. Then on top again of the tower staircase, you should be able to drop down the hole. If you're at the bottom, there will spawn 4 Torpealex. I think they even have a bit more health, but they aren't unkillable. If you kill them, you gain 4 APS, with which you can escape out of the hole once more. Then on top again, you should shoot out one of the 2 sides from the glass dome that you see there. Then you will enter a Scampia-like area. There at the bottom, on the upper left side or behind left side, you will find the VSS Vintores as well as the Lucid Waters EP1 tape. You can now leave the level if you like. The shop owner holds nothing, so there's no reason to kill him. Also, you don't need to sell all of your stuff before you leave the level. You will automatically sell all of your stuff once you leave the level. Philemon, or in Philemon's shop, you can kill the civilians to gain a Tokarev and an SKS. The bodyguard holds an APS, a reflex enhancement, which was why I told you to take the thermo-optic camo, as well as regeneration and enhanced strength. Philemon himself holds an MP5K, just like the priest, so I guess it wasn't unique. Sorry for that error. And he also has a Lucid Water EP1 in the back of his shop, so if you forgot to take it with you, now's the time. And that would be the tutorial level. Apartment. The thing about apartment is that whilst you can't really find any new weapons, you always return to it. The thing about it is most of the weapons that you can find, so effectively everything in the basement, is everything that was already available in Unveiled, so no of the newer weapons. You can find all of them in the basement. The only trick that I could advise you to do would be to take all of the ammunition that is in there and then just start the next level, because everything that's in your inventory when you clear a level, like when you start a new level, all of your stuff in the inventory, with the exception of augmentations, gets sold automatically. So you can, I think you can make up to 2,000 or 4,000 zloty even if you just pick up all the ammo in the basement. And honestly, just doing this once is enough to sustain you for the rest of the game. All right, so let's go over to Memorial Tower. Memorial Tower. The first thing you want to do is go back into the engine room when you turn around. You can get the electric prod there. In this level, it isn't really helpful, but nonetheless, you can get it. There's also a container type in Maggot Girl and August Krelich into the two terminals. You can go to a container on the right on the other side of the river and get a small battery from the container. If you go to Metro Phase, you can go into a shop menu. You can buy an AK clone for 170 zloty or a Galil for 390 zloty. If you then exit the train station, you can find a fridge with a health fuse inside of it. If you go to the main square where the communists and the PSR soldiers fought, you can find an SKS, a Makarov, and a Tokarev on the communist insurgents. The PSR soldiers, every one of them is holding a Karabinek Polon. So I think it is 3 soldiers in total. So 3 Karabinek Polon. If you go into the bar, you can talk with the barman, but he has effectively the same inventory as Metro Face, so you can buy an AK clone for 170 zloty and the Galil for 390 zloty. So if you kill the barman, you can get a Makarov, and if you kill the commander, you can get a Vladas. If we then go into the sewer system, you can find 2 homeless people. They always anger at you on sight, but if you kill them, you can get a Samopol Visor 58 and a TOS 34. There's also a Topilek. In older versions, that Topilek held an APS, but in this new version, he holds an ASM. Nonetheless, it still functions the same. In older versions, you were able to get a VSS magazine if you gone down into the sewer system, but for some reason the sewer system was closed off. There were talks about remaking Memorial Tower, but honestly, at this point in time, I'm not really seeing it. There aren't a lot of new areas here. And as I aforementioned, the old sewer system is now inaccessible. I don't know why. I hope that it gets fixed in future versions, and I'm very much sure of it. But anyhow, let's continue onwards. If we then climb up and go into the lobby, we can find, I think it's 7. Yeah, I think it's 7 guards in total. Every single one of these guards is holding a Glock or a clock, how they are called in Peripeteia. 5 of them are holding a PP2000, 1 of them is holding a Samopol Visor 58, and 1 of them is holding a Stas 12. There's also an elite bodyguard in here who holds an actual APS, as well as an ENS AUG. If we then continue onward, we are not really onwards, but we should now take the ammunition that we have from the APS and the ASM from the Topilek, and we can now climb onto the roof of the lobby, continue onwards till the end, jump into the hole where the dumpster girl is. If you don't know, that's like, you find it out if you play the game. But just beside her is an G3. I also don't have it noted here that there's a magazine. I remember in old versions there was most definitely at least 1 magazine, if not even 2. But apparently in this current build there's just a G3. If we then go back, take the elevator and ride to the top of Memorial Tower, we come to the Alpha section of the building. There are multiple guards, some hold multiple items, so in total you can get 5 blocks, 2 Kikan Kenju 9s, 4 Spazes, 2 APS, 2 ENS AUGs, and 1 M16A2, which I think is even unique. There are also 3 inaccessible lockers. You have to understand, in older versions of Peripeteia, you were actually able to shoot them off with like the doors out of the hinges with a shotgun. The same goes for normal doors or even large doors, which was pretty cool. Although through a bug between pre-returned and embraced, it got broken. If you want to try that out, there's a build that I archived on archive.org, and you can try it in the old Embrace build. It's very fun, but as of right now, it's still sadly bugged, but I'm sure that it will come back. There are 3 inaccessible 12 gauge ammunition boxes. If we then continue over the rooftops, we can find a VSS as well as a VSS mag. If we then go on top of the roof, there's a smaller little building with, I think it is implied that these are spine sellers, but they could be anything, to be quite honest. They hold 4 spas, 12, 3 Glocks, and 1 APS. If we then continue onwards to Jakub's, praised be his name, creator of the white race, if we then continue onwards to his apartment and kill him, we can actually gain a Makarov. There are 4 guards, as it seems. Each of them holds a spas 12. And if we then continue onwards and go, or effectively escape and go back to the sewers, we can talk with the communists. Even if you already killed Jakub, they won't know and still invite you. But you obviously can't tell them, oh, I killed him, because that just causes the commander to shoot at you. So I advise you to open fire on them, especially because the leader possesses a PPS 43, which is unique to this level and this NPC. Like, you have to kill him if you want to get this weapon. This is very important. And another one of his soldier holds a PPSH 41. Again, unique to this level and unique to the character. You need to kill him to get it. 2 of the other soldiers, communists, are holding SKS, so unimportant. We then can exit the level. Before you exit, you can actually get a PP2000 from the guard that is standing guard. I kind of don't understand why they gave him a PP2000, especially because in older versions in Embrace, he actually held an Samopol Visor 58, but he had the wrong magazine. And that was kind of the joke behind it, that they are so unorganized that they just give him some weapon and some magazine. I think he actually held a usual AK magazine with his other Samopol Visor 58 magazine. It was quite an elaborate joke. I really don't get why they removed it, especially because I just noted that he just has a PP2000. So, like, no other magazine. The entire joke is gone, and I don't get it. Like, sure, some people don't get the joke. They didn't make the connection. They think it's a bug, but it isn't. It's actually quite a smart joke. So I kind of hope that they return to the joke again. Now, again, something important is, I didn't mention it. I see it right now, but there's a secret store where there are free flashlights. You probably ask yourself that when you were at the bar. You can actually get there if you either, when you're in the underground section and you're on that balcony and go into the lobby, you can actually jump a bit on a few ledges and get to a ventilation shaft. Or you can go into, I think it was the women's toilet, and then you get to a maintenance tunnel, and then you can just jump down a giant vent, and then you will also land at another vent, and that will lead you into the store. And there are 3 hand-cracked flashlights as well as a VSS magazine. Fun addition is, and this is really, really strange, and I really don't get why this was made, but it's, if you go around the train, you can actually go into the train tracks that you see when you exit the station. And there are 2 large batteries stacked on each other. At the end of that track, you go to the left and then again to the left, and you're in a little hallway. And again, there are, like, as I mentioned, 2 large batteries. But what's even crazier is that to the right, there's a door which can't be blown off their hinges, but inside there's a hand-cracked flashlight as well as a VSS magazine. Alright, the Chasm. The thing about the Chasm is you start with 2 fuses, one of them health, one of them energy, as well as a saber. Again, the saber is usually a unique weapon. There is, if you start to the left, container containing chips, as well as a PSR soldier standing guard there, which you can talk to. Now, in this newer version, there's a new side quest added where you have an armory, which is shortly crafted together. And the thing is that you are tasked to retrieve a Tantal in the back of that armory, but the armory is full of different claymores. If you get around that, you can find a Tantal in the back on top of a ladder. Pick that one up, because it's the one that needs to be traded. You can also find a spare armory key, as well as a beer can besides the armor. After trading the Tantal, you get 30 slotty as well as the dog shit 747. If you then go over the bridge that there is in the train station, you get to another armory, which when you open it with the password, you can find a small battery, a thermo optic camo, an electric prod, as well as a Makarov. I personally would advise you to sell effectively everything except for the Makarov. Actually, no, you can actually sell that one as well. The train station barman inventory consists of one RWGL1 for 235 zloty, an explosive contact RWGL grenade for 100 zloty, a gas grenade for 100 zloty, 2 grenades for 100 zloty each, a box of 12 gouge for 10 zloty, a box of 7.62 times 39 millimeter for 60 zloty, small battery and large battery for 50 zloty each, a health and energy fuse for 140 zloty each, a medical kit, an AK medical kit for 200 zloty, an AK for 170 zloty, a TOS 34 for 104 zloty, TOS 36 for 160 zloty, ballistic reinforcement augmentation for 100 zloty, reflex enhancement for 100 zloty, thermo-optic camo for 100 zloty, silent step for 100 zloty, and puppeteer for 100 zloty. As aforementioned, everything from ballistic reinforcement till puppeteer is an aug. Behind the vending machine, you can find an Outskirts and an energy fuse. If you then enter the hobo building, there will be that one homeless guy. He also holds an Outskirts, Jesus Christ. Outskirts and a box of 12 gouge for some reason. I don't know why. On top of the top floor, if you go into that, just go up one floor from where the homeless guy is standing, you can find the enhanced strength augmentation. If you then go over the rooftop and enter that one small building with an open door, you can go down a vent where you can find an energy fuse, a hand-cracked flashlight, as well as a grenade. In the main room, you can then fight 2 homeless people. They hold a TOS 34 and a box of 12 gauge each. Underneath barrel, you can also find a 12 gauge box. Underneath another barrel, you can find a helico clip. If you then it's a bit hidden, but there's an elevator at the back. If you go down that one, you can find a grenade trap to gain a free grenade. If you then go up and go to the staircase again, you can find a small battery as well as a grenade. If you then return to the train station and go through the train station tunnel and climb up a ladder, you can find an electric prod. If you then continue onwards, you will find on the left side an entrance which will allow you to enter the unknown factory, how it is called. It's I think it was either in a Twitter post from 4 years ago or a Patreon post, but no one really knows what that factory is for. Like, not even the devs or anyone in the world. It contains a small battery, a box of 7.62 times 39 millimeter, as well as a TKB011. There's also a locker, which I called the CIA locker back in the day, because back in Embrace, that was the only way to gain an M16A2. There's also a small battery and a box of 5.56 times 45 millimeter ammo. Now there are actually 2 more M16A2s, but back in the day, it was something very, very unique. Also, if you then continue, you go out of that building and continue onwards over the bridge, you will see to your left a large bridge in the middle of the chasm. There's no effectively legal way to get onto that bridge and off that bridge, but inside of it is a TOS 36 revolver. Again, unobtainable. If you then continue onward, to your left would be the apartment complex where the PSR and the Second Union are fighting, and in front of you there would be the Joy Cultist hideout. You can go down into that bridge, and on top of a walkway inside of that bridge, there is a large and a small battery as well as an energy fuse. If you then continue onwards to the grain elevator and climb up the stairs, especially the stairs, not the ladder, to your right or left, however you take it, there's an apartment complex. Jump onto one of the balconies. You can enter one of the apartments. Inside of it is a TOS 36 revolver, as well as a locker with a small battery, a box of 14.5 times 114 millimeter ammunition, as well as 2 helico clips. As you then continue onwards to the Joy Cultist Tower and kill the Joy Cultist, you can gain 1 SKS, 3 FAL SKSs, 1 L1A1 FAL, 3 keycards for the grain elevator tower or grain sorting facility. You can also find a TOS 34, a Samopol Visor 58, 2 M16A2s, as well as an AK. and 1 Makarov. On the top locker of the hideout, you can find 1 health and 1 energy fuse, as well as a grenade. I would also advise you, just in case, open the door to the grain sorting facility, just in case you are going to throw away any or even all of the key cards to the grain sorting facility. You should then go back down, jump on top of that apartment complex where you got the TOS 36 from, and there's a walkway. It's broken off, but there's still a section where you can go climb inside. You will find a small battery, a health fuse, an explosive contact RWGL grenade, as well as a PP2000. If you then climb onto the apartment complex, which should be possible because of the balconies, you will come to a rooftop locker which contains 1 small battery, a box of 12 gauge. You should then, at best, talk with the commander, get the RWGL1 grenade launcher, and you can then kill the 3 PSR soldiers so that you can work with the communists. This is very important. You can get from PSR commander the FB Tantile, and from the PSR soldiers you can gain a Spaz 12. I always advise Spaz 12, just take it, best shotgun, as well as a PKM. Now that you're friendly with the communists, I advise you to just destroy any and all lights in that apartment complex. It will be very important later on. There's also a lonely locker at the side of the apartment complex with 1 small battery and a grenade. And there's a secret storage room which contains 1 locker. Actually, it has multiple lockers, but only 1 is relevant. And that one contains the enhanced reflexes. On the way to the hideout to the communists, because you can jump out of the east window and jump onto some pipes, and from these pipes you can then go to the communist hideout. But before that, you should save Casper with a medkit if you have one. For me, it didn't work. I think it's just a bug. It probably gets fixed for you, but if he dies, he will drop some 14.5 times 114mm ammunition. And besides him lies and drops the PTRS shortened, a grenade, a VSS mag, and a PKM ammo box. If you then continue onwards through the pipes, you will get onto a small building. That small building, like at a corner, a small building, and on top of that there will be 2 grenades. Jump down from that small building and get into the elevator to get to the commie hideout. Everyone will be friendly, so you should talk with the barman. The barman will sell you an RWGL1 for 235 zloty, an explosive contact grenade RWGL1 grenade for 100 zloty, and 2 grenades for 100 zloty each. You will also be able to buy a gas grenade for 100 zloty, 2 boxes of 12 gauge for 10 zloty each, 1 box of 7.62 times 39mm for 60 zloty, a small and a large battery for 50 zloty each, a health and energy fuse for 140 zloty each, an AK for 170 zloty, a medical kit for 200 zloty, a TOS 34 for 104 zloty, a TOS 36 for 160 zloty, a Tokarev for 145 zloty, a PP2000 for 300 zloty, a box of 5.45 times 39mm for 90 zloty, and a VSSK V-Klop for 2070 zloty. At the communist hideout, you can unlock the prisoner's cell for the communist orders, which is just an item, not a gun. There's also the morgue. Go and look up the caskets. There will be a puppeteering augmentation, small battery, as well as a G. Samoyed, who is guarding the entrance to the communist hideout, will hold a TOS 34 as well as a box of 12 gauge. The communist insurgents will hold 2 RAKs, 3 SKS, 2 FB Tantiles for whatever reason. Usually it's just a PSR weapon, but 4 TOS 34, 5 boxes of 12 gauge, and a Samopol Visor 58 as well as a PKM. Commissar Dyatlov will also contain 3 explosive charges, 1 copy of the communist orders, and a TOS 36. Also, the bar in the communist hideout in Embraced, as I mentioned, you were actually able to shoot doors out of the hinges. Now it isn't possible, so at this point in time, you're unable to get into the bar. The barman held a Makarov, and inside the bar there's a box of long rifle .22, 3 explosive charges, 1 box of 9 times 18mm Makarov, 8mm Nagant box, a box of 7.62 times 39mm. No, wait, there are actually 2 boxes of 7.62 times 39mm. And there are as well 2 gas grenades. Top of Dyatlov's tank, there will also be a box of 7.62 times 51mm, a gas grenade, and a regular grenade. You shall now, just to optimize on your weapon gaining strategy, return to the train station where you can kill multiple Polish soldiers. They will drop 4 FB Tantals, 2 dogshit 747s. Tito will drop an ENS GB. The barman will drop a Makarov, and inside of the bar you will be able to loot a box of 7.62 times 39mm as well as a box of 8mm Nagant. Outside of the train station, on top, if you go to the left, you can jump on some balconies and get some 9.18mm Makarov, and there will also be a locker which, if you go up a ladder, you will be able to find a locker. Inside of that locker, there will be a small battery, a grenade, as well as the stashkin. Take the stashkin, most definitely. Always take silenced weapons. Before you go to the complex, listen to me right now, you should go to the bridge. There's this bridge with that small supply room below that Pisatsky statue. On that bridge, or under that bridge, there will be an energy fuse, 9 by 16mm Makarov box. Inside that room will be a bayonet, a medical kit, a small battery, a large battery, and on a ledge to the left of the bridge, or to the south of the bridge, there will be on a ledge a helico. You find a lot of helicos clips in this level, but there's only one helico hidden right there. So if you like the helico, grab it. If you go back to the communist apartment complex, you can kill the communist insurgents. You will gain the ammunition for the long rifle .22, 3 AKs, 4 SKS, 8 TOS 34s, 3 PKMs, 3 Tokarevs, and 1 VSS Vintorek. Then we can continue onwards, just go through the bridge. We already let down the bridge when we were at the hideout for the joy cultists, and we can now kill all the PSR soldiers in there. You will gain, through killing all of the PSR soldiers, 9 Karabinek Polon, 2 Spaz 12, and there will be 5 Polish elites, and each of them holds a PKM. You will also find 3 FB Tantals on PSR soldiers. If you then go to the fan room, you know, the one where the password is ass, you can actually jump up the fan above the terminal and you can gain a TKB 011, a box of 8mm Nagant, a medical kit, a health fuse, and an energy. At the entrance to the nuclear plant, like if you now go to the giant dynamo room and jump up the ladder or use the elevator, like he uses the elevator in that scenario, but anyhow, if you use it, you can kill a Polish elite and get the Lantan. The Lantan is a unique weapon to only this level and only this elite, so kill him and gain his weapon. The entrance walkway locker, if you jump from over that dynamo and up to one of the 2 walkways, you will locker. It contains 1 small battery, 1 grenade, a stashkin, again just take it, and an energy fuse. If you now go a bit to the east, or just down from the walkway and behind the dynamo, there should be a little ladder that will lead you to the nuclear waste room. There's a locker in the water. You go in there, there's a small battery, an energy fuse, an explosive contact, RWGL grenade. No, actually, wait. There are 4 explosive contact RWGL grenades. There's an APS magazine, a box of 7.62 times 54mm blanks for the RWGL grenade launcher. And if we now go to the control room, like take the elevator, go to the control room where the helicopter fight takes place, You can fight against the PSR soldiers as well as the 2 elites. You will gain from the PSR soldiers 1 FB Tantal as well as 2 Spaz 12s. And the Polish elites will hold a Karabinek Polon. Before you leave the control room, there are 3 lockers. Each of them hold 1 small battery, 1 grenade, 1 energy fuse, and 1 health fuse. If you leave the control room, you should do that through the window and then climb down the tower, because on one of the ledges there's a belt bran. Keep in mind that the belt bran is a unique weapon, but not only to this level, you will be able to find it later on in Belgrad if you choose to do the cleanup pathway, where you can find it on the train where it's being held by one of the wardens. Now that we basically concluded the main story, we will go to the Spine Stealer hideout. You can find 2 energy fuses. The Spine Sellers themselves will hold 1 Tokarev, 2 AKs, 3 TOS 34 shotguns, as well as 2 SKSs. The upper locker of their hideout will hold 4 grenades, 1 Puppeteer Augment, which is kind of creepy now that I think about it. And under the floorboards, like if you go into, there's a giant hole filled with water in the main room. If you go down there and crawl beneath it, you will be able to find a locker which contains an APS and 2 APS magazines. Again, take them, the APS is absolute gold. Then if you continue onwards through a tunnel, you come to the ground level of the chasm where all of the tanks reside. No, you can't take the PKMs from the tanks, sadly. If you go to the elevator where you usually come from the train station, you will have to go to the left, lane graffiti is, and you will find a small river. Inside of that river will be a health fuse and an energy fuse. If you then continue onwards and jump down to the parking lot, you will find a tunnel or a pathway, and in this pathway you will find a locker under some stairs which contains a box of 2 boxes of 7.62 times 39mm and box of 8mm Nagant and a small battery. If you then continue onwards and get overground again, go onto the walkways, you are able to come to an apartment where some trash bags lie in front of a door. Underneath that trash bag will be a small and a large battery. If you then go around the building to the entrance, which is on ground level, you will find a health fuse. And if you then beeline it to the ground floor shop, right next to it, you will be able to loot 2 small batteries, 1 large battery, 1 AK drum, 1 of 2 in the entire level, a PKM box magazine. And if you then once again beeline it to outside of the fighting area, you will be able to go to the ground level trash container, which contains 3 small batteries, 1 large battery, 2 boxes of 7.62 times 54mm, as well as a PKM box magazine. We then want to again get up to the grain sorting facility where Tito is waiting. You basically already completed the level twice, so if you want to, you can just kill Tito and gain an ENNS GB. Tito is standing under some gears. If you jump up or find a way up, you will find a locker where a small battery resides, and on top of the gears there will be a VSSK mag as well as a VSSK V-Klop. There are also 2 small houses. The first one contains a medical kit on the floor, and in the locker there will be a large battery as well as a helico clip. And the second house will contain an AK drum on the floor, the second one of the level, as well as a small battery, a medical kit, and the dual wheel augment inside of the locker. Now, if you continue onwards in the grain sorting facility, you will come to a ladder. If you go down that ladder, you will come to a little house where there's apparently an elevator. I will talk about it in a sec. And you will be able to find there the TKB. This one is unique to this level. And yeah, I really think this is unique to this level, and there's only this one example of it. Or I think maybe there's one in Karabash now that I think about it, but otherwise, this is a very unique weapon. Fun fact about this little portion: in Embrace there was no elevator there, only the outline of it. But in future versions, there was actually a functioning elevator. If you go to the bottom, you can actually still go to the bottom if you have a few health fuses and know how to jump correctly. And you can push a button there at the bottom at these docks, and it will actually activate the actual elevator. But the thing is that you're trapped now. You soft-locked yourself in that area. And even if you were to ride down from the top to the bottom with the elevator, it still wouldn't work because the elevator stops way deeper than it actually should. So you're trapped inside of the house that the elevator goes into. It's kind of a strange situation, but yeah, fun fact. And also the last weapon would be the VSS Vintores, which can be found if you continue onwards that gigantic bridge. And then on the side there's a little ladder that you can go down on, and you can find Spurdursperde, that one little meme bear, and you can, as aforementioned, get the VSS Vintores if you grab it from his cold dead paws. Alright, Belgrad / Reclamation. You start the level, and this is important, you start the level without energy, you start the level with no guns, and you start the level with no augments. It's very important because you will be able to reclaim your augments later on. I think you will keep your money, but I'm unsure of that, sorry. So we exit the bridge section. Just for orientation, the bridge is the south section, the side without the bridge is the north section, west tower, east tower. Alright. So as soon as we enter the tower, there's a corpse with 2 bayonets. If you remove them, the floor automatically opens. Otherwise, you can climb up the black cube and get to a terminal. I think, yeah, the password for the terminal is black cube. Hail Saturn. If you go to the locker besides it, you will be able to get a box of 9x18 Makarov ammunition. If you then go into the first safe room, so like you need to unlock a door and then there's the safe room, you know how it goes. There's gonna be one locker which contains the school keycard as well as a box of 9x18mm Makarov. Whilst exiting the tower, this is important, there will be a hand or an arm hanging down from the ceiling. That one holds a Makarov. Also, because some people had problems with that, with safe room, I mean, there are rooms inside of this level, I think 6 or 7 in total, which allow you to save. You get the message, oh, you feel much safer or you don't feel uncomfortable. On the top left corner and a little Marie under a blanket, that means you can save there. I heard, or at least there are talks that you can disable that. You can also disable it by simply cheating. So you go into Steam and then you press right click and then actually I can do that right now because I have Steam open on the side where it's like you go into properties and then in overall, like directly onto Peripeteia, you have starting options and you just type in -cheats and that enables cheats. That means that you can now save in Belgrad whenever you want. It is planned that you get to have that either way. Back on topic, there's an arm holding a Makarov. Take that one. Take that one. It's very important. In between the giant empty hollow tower, the room that you're in right now, there's a little space which contains a hand-cracked flashlight. I advise you to take that one. As we continue onwards, we want to go over the bridge to the eastern section of the level. After we are done going through the bridge, we want to go to the left and go up a chain. We would then be in a room infested with Molodos. Watch out. Also, fun fact, they actually made more damage back in the playtesting phase. It was actually 50%. Now it's just 25%. So they literally double tapped you. These things are really annoying, even still now. Anyhow, back to the weapons. Back to the weapons on hand. Where are we exactly? Right. You go into that room with all of the Molodos, and then you go up a ladder. And on top of the walkway, there will be a locker and there will be 3 grenades in there. Then you need to go back down the chain. And this is important because there's a little crevice over the hollow tower thing, structure, elevator also is. And it contains a unique red hand-cracked flashlight. In older versions, I remember when I died, it stopped being red and it just became white. Also, the power of that one also isn't that strong, so it's actually way worse than regular hand-cracked flashlight. But if you like it and want to have it for that level, that's where you can get it. You can also get a box of 23mm shot. You then should go back to the roof of the eastern tower. On top of that tower, there will be 4 wardens. 2 of them hold a KS-23M, 1 of them holds an Ingram 10, and 1 of them holds an LPO-50 flamethrower. Now, that flamethrower won't stop spewing flames because it constantly recharges. Now, the important thing is you can actually grab it and pick it up, but it absolutely does no damage for some reason. And second off, the second you put it away, it stops having infinitely recharging flames, so look out for that one. It's pretty useless, so just leave it lying around there. You should then continue onwards because there's like a room with Soviet soldier, which I'm just gonna call the corpse room. And below that corpse room, there's another room. I don't know why it was cut. It actually had a functioning, semi-functioning elevator back in the day. You find a box of 23mm shot, climb back up. Then there's a panel in the floor which you can break open. And there you can enter the large room filled with Molotovs. The Molotovs there are pretty tame and usually don't do anything. You can ignore them. They will mostly ignore you. In the front room, there's the principal key. Or at least it's called the principal's key, but it's actually the elevator access key to another room, but you can actually just break the window, so kind of irrelevant. There are also a bunch of lockers. They contain a small battery, a large battery, and a Raran 1130. Then if you continue throughout the room, there's also a helicopter display case, or at least a display case behind the helicopter. The fun thing about that one is you don't need to hack the panel. You can actually just break it with your bayonets. In there you can find 2 RPG rockets, 1 health fuse, and 1 pack of 23mm shot. In the back storage room there's a KS-23M shotgun. And now this is important. We need to go back to the corpse room, talk with the corpse, and then get to an area with projected space, or it is in projected space. Once we are through the mirror structure, and there will be a locker filled with 1 large battery and the boiler room key. I advise you not to kill the vague figure because it soft locks you, and as soon as we enter we are automatically on the east side building. We want to enter the large warden room. The wardens there hold, 2 of them hold an Ingram 10, 1 of them holds an Yugoslav M53, so be aware, and also the weapons automatically aimed for you. And 2 of them hold an KS-23M. There's also a locker which holds a small and a large battery. Then there's a secret vent behind a few chests which holds a KS-23M and a box of 9x18mm Makarov ammunition. Then, whilst you're at the slide, you are able to find 4 grenades in there, and then break a certain panel in the wall to get into the school. If you go into the interrogation room, there will be the principal's key. Once you're in the principal's office, you get a classroom key. In the principal's office, there are lockers which hold a bag of chips and a small battery, but there's also a vent to the right if you enter the room. That is the second safe area. In there is the Mateva and a box of 6x39mm ammunition. Then you should exit that room to a panel on the left wall. You should end up in a padded room where there's the Makarov mag and the janitor key. Then you can exit that room and go into the janitor's closet. There will be a KS-23M shotgun, a health and energy fuse, 3 boxes of 9x18mm Makarov ammunition, and 44 Magnum ammunition. You should then continue onwards to the psychologist's office. The lockers will be empty, although all of the windows inside of that building, inside of the school, they are all fake. You can all break them. Once inside the surgery room, you should be able to get a small battery and 23mm shot. Then in the weapons room, there is a box of there are actually 2 boxes of 8mm ammo, which don't really help you a lot because there's no Mauser 1910, but instead just, I think 2 or 3 Yugoslav M53, so that's kind of unhelpful. A box of 7.62x39mm, an AK mag, and 6 SKSs. Take one of the SKSs because they are extremely helpful as sniper rifles. You then want to continue onwards and go into that giant hole in the eastern building, which I just dubbed the warden hole. In there will be 5 Mosins, 2 KS-23M shotguns, 2 Ingram 10s, and 1 APS. If you continue onwards, there will be a third safe spot. Right, if you go to the bottom of the hole and then to the left of the north side of the eastern building, there will be scaffolding, and if you stand on the top, I think you will be in that safe zone. There will also be a 9x 18mm Makarov package, a package of 23mm shot, and an energy fuse. If you continue onwards down, there will be more scaffolding and walkways. If you walk to the end of one of the walkways to the northeast, there will be a VSS Vintores and a VSS magazine. All of these walkways on the northern side, the ones have 3 Mosins, 2 OC-14 Grosas, 1 APS, 1 Ingram 10, and 1 KS-23M. If we now go around the building, in the middle, there should be a Molotov storage area. There's a Makarov drum mag that has, I think, 60, 70, 80 bullets inside of it. Take that one. Like, ammunition is extremely important here. There's also a small and large battery, as well as a KS-23. We then continue to the south section. On the south section, I have to mention this. There's a room, like a fan room. If you enter that one, there will be 1 health fuse, 1 small and 1 large battery, and a package of 23mm shot. The south section of the tower also has a few wardens. One of them has a KS-23M, and 3 more have Ingram 10s. We now want to continue onwards down to as far as we can go down, and go on to the east side of that little appendage to the building, and go up the scaffolding, which will lead us to the TV room. The fun thing about the TV room is it contains 12.7x 55mm ammo packet, an energy and health fuse, and a Raran 1130 attachment for the Makarov. I personally advise you not to put the attachment onto the Makarov, because it bricks the Makarov and you really want to keep your single shots. We want to then continue onwards to the Kino. Inside of the Kino, there's a locker with a .45 APC ammo box, and there's also a warden holding an Ingram 10. We want to crash the gravity sphere that's in there, and then continue onwards to the artillery bay. At the artillery bay, there are multiple wardens. 2 of them hold Mosins, 2 of them hold KS-23M shotguns, and 5 of them hold Ingram 10s. There is Casper to the southeast portion of the artillery bay. You can talk with him, or you can try to kill him, although I have to warn you, he has a lot, and I really mean a lot of health. Like, I kind of don't get why this version of him right here has so much health, but I understand why the one in the boss fight has so much. If you achieve to kill him, I advise you to use super strength and to just steal his PTRS 41, because if you have super strength, you can actually carry it. Otherwise, you won't even be able to pick it up. It's very fun. It is very much functional. If for whatever reason you aren't able to go to Casper or want to fight with him against Stasia, then yeah, you need to kill him and grab the PTRS 41 for yourself. The locker staircase, exactly. In the locker staircase, as aforementioned, all of the augments that you lost at the beginning of the game will be inside that one. If you don't have any augments, then obviously nothing will spawn. We want to now continue onwards to the loading bay, which is on the northern side of the east tower. There's a lot of loot there. First of all, wardens. 2 with KS-23M, 2 with Ingram 10s, 1 with a Mosin. Inside of the loading bay lockers, first of all, watch out, there are Molotovs inside of these cargo containers, but inside of the lockers there will be 3 boxes of 23mm shot, 2 health fuses and 1 energy fuse. And if you go to the back into the control office, you will find the Yugoslav M53, which I advise you to pick up simply because of the boss fight that's about to happen. You need to then continue onwards to the prison section, destroy the second gravity control sphere. There are a lot of wardens, and apparently 8 of them hold Ingram 10s, 2 of them hold KS-23s, and the cleanup crew that's inside there with you, 3 of them hold an MP5K and 2 of them hold LPO50 flamethrowers. Also on the table you are able to find a KS-23M shotgun, VSS Vintores, as well as another box of 23mm shot. If you work with Stasia, she will send you down a tunnel to kill the rest of the cleanup crew. If you do this, you will fight against a handful of wardens, very strong wardens. 4 of them hold belt brands, and 3 of them will hold Ingram 10s. Then, inside of the train lockers, in the original concept, I remember that your augments and weapons, yes, weapon transfers, were actually planned to appear in these lockers, but instead you are able to find 2 boxes of 23mm shot, 2 small batteries, 2 health fuses, and a pack of 4-5 ACP ammo. If you then continue onwards and crash the train, you will end up in that sewer system section where more cleanup crew will reside. They hold 2 RMB 93 Lynx, 3 OC14 Grosas, 3 Galils, 2 FK Cows, and 1 Mosin. Also in the lockers there is 1 Makarov drum mag, 1 health fuse, and 1 small battery. And that would be it for Belgrad, or how was it called? Reclamation. Alright, last level for today. Karabash / Outskirts. You spawn with just a saber. At the entrance there's a guard. He drops a Karabinek Polon. The civilian besides him drops nothing. If you go to the public toilets of the giant residential area, you are able to encounter Meshach the Canist. He drops Meshach's LPO50, which is a unique flamethrower. If you continue downwards to the handouts, you are able to get an electric prod as well as a pack of cigarettes. At the underground shopkeep, you are able to buy a pack of cigarettes for 100 zloty, 2 packs of 12 gauge for 10 zloty each, a pack of 8mm gun for 60 zloty, a pack of 7.62 times 39mm for 60 zloty, a health and energy fuse for 140 zloty each. Then if you continue through the underground complex, you are able to find 2 waterworks guards. One of them holds a TOS 34, another one holds a Samopol Visor 58. Then if you continue onwards back to the handouts, there is a homeless guy who holds a TOS 36 revolver as well as a SIG blunt. The shop owner as well holds the same thing, a TOS 36 and a SIG blunt. The PSR soldiers hold 3 FB Tantals. The civilians hold nothing. If you go back to the surface and towards the Musica Automatica, you will find a boiler room, and in there is a locker with an electric prod. There's a civilian at the entrance of the mall who holds an L1A1 FAL with joy motives. This one is a unique gun and you should kill him to gain it. In the apartment complex, after you talked with Ishtar and Lilith, you are going to be sent up to plant frog eggs in the lungs of the herpetologist. The guards there will drop 3 gas grenades, 3 Spaz 12s, 3 AKs, a SIG blunt, as well as an Ingram 10. Lilith and Ishtar don't spawn anything, so don't bother killing them. In the club, the civilians will drop 2 Glocks and 3 SIG blunts. The bodyguards will drop 4 Ingram 10s and 2 Spaz 12s, as well as 1 G3. Indrid Colt will drop a SIG blunt, as well as a unique T48 FAL. Pick that one up. And if you enter the club, there will be an Ingram 10 at Indrid's hangout. If you continue onwards to the sex dungeon, you will be able to gain 4 Ingram 10s from the guards. Oh my god. 12 Spaz 12s, 1 AAL Acer, which is a unique gun to this level, as well as 3 M16s A2. If you go down into the sewer, you will be able to collect 4 APSs from the Topilex, which is kind of astoundingly few. If you go into the waterworks or up to the waterworks, the guards will hold 1 Mosin Nagant M9130, 4 Ingram 10s, a Samopal Visor 58, 4 PKMs, 3 TOS 34s, 1 Val SKS, 3 Sigblans, 1 AK, 1 FB Tantal, and 1 Vladas. The 2 Pilex that will spawn in that area will drop 5 APS. Inside of the tower, the control tower for the waterworks, there will be a handful of guards, I think 4 in total. They will drop 2 Samopal Visor 58s, 2 Sigblans, 1 PKM, and 1 Vladas. Inside of the 4 lockers, there's 1 small battery each, so in total 4 small batteries. If you then go back to the Musica Automatica, at the bar you will be able to talk to the bartenders. They have a shared inventory as far as I remember, and you are able to buy 6 vodkas and 5 beers for 20 zloty each, 1 small or large battery for 50 zloty each, and 1 health or energy fuse for 140 zloty each. Then we continue onwards to the boat. Note that if you want to ride with the boat and collect these things, you need to do this before you drain the waterworks, otherwise the ferry just sits on the shoreline. The boat has multiple PSR soldiers. They hold 2 FB Tantals, 3 Spaz 12s, 2 Karabiner Polonek, and 1 PKM. If you continue onwards towards Nevada, you will be able to find 26 Spaz 12s. I want to add, every single enemy in that area, all 26 of them, holds a Spaz 12. You will be able to find 3 Ingram 10s and 23 Vladas. This is so absurd. Also lying around, you will find 2 rucks, 5 ruck mags, 4 energy fuses, 1 health fuse, 1 Yugoslav M53, and 1 box of 8mm Mauser ammunition. And let me tell you, you will be set for life if you collect just all of that. If you enter the artist town, either by train or by boat or just by walking there, at the entrance there will be 2 communist party shotguns lying on the ground. That's probably still a bug. Don't know when it will be fixed. Let's just hope it will be. I don't advise you buying anything from the painters, because all of these pictures cost 999 zloty and it's just not worth it. They have 4 pictures. I think 3 of them are just pictures. One of them is the falsified bloodline of Iskandar Dzugashvili. The painters, if you kill them, each of them holds a TOS 36, so that's 2 TOS 36s. If you spared the herpetologist, she will spawn there as well, and she will on death drop an M16A2. At the entrance there will be a communist agitator who holds an SKS. There's also a secret tank spot with a few communists. The insurgents hold 3 TKB 022Ps, 1 Sig Blunt, and the commissar holds a TKB 011. I want to note, the TKB 022P is usually the weapon that the insurgents spawn if you use the cheat menu, but this is the only unique and legal time where the TKB 022P spawns legally. So pick these up. Also the TKB 011 is unique here, except for Chasm. The German shop owner has, to the left of him, there's a box. Inside of that box is a Chinese mushroom. You can use that mushroom to blackmail him and be able to use his shop to get into the apartment complex, but more on that in a second. First off, there is his shop menu, and that one states that you can gain dual wield, reflex enhancement, puppeteer, thermal optic camo, map drone, and enhanced strength for 100 zloty each, a small and large battery for 50 zloty each, and I didn't damn, I didn't mark how many. I think it was 2 vodkas and 3 cans of beer for 20 zloty each. If you kill the shop owner, you are able to gain a Yugoslav M53 as well as an APS. You should then go through the secret entrance and you will arrive at a janitor room. Inside of his locker there will be a health fuse and a small battery. You should then exit and go back to Indrid, who's at a little bar or shop. The shop owner sells 4 bottles of vodka for 20 zloty each, 5 beers for 20 zloty each, a small and large battery for 50 zloty each, and 2 health and 2 energy fuses for 140 zloty each. If you kill the shop owner, she will drop a sick blunt. Strange. 2 shop owners. I have noted here that the 2 painting sellers also dropped sick blunts, but in recent tests they didn't. If you kept Joseph, he will drop an FB Tantal. The PSR soldier holds an FB Tantal. Was zum Fick habe ich da geschrieben? Ach du meine Scheiße. Recidivist communists hold ach so. No, why did I write recidivists? What is a recidivist? I mean, like, I understand revision. Let's just go with it. The recidivist communists hold, if you go up to the library, they will hold 3 AKs and 1 Spaz 12. If you enter the Hall of the Unborn Moon, you will find 5 more communists. Each of them hold an AK, so 5 AKs in total. Inside of the Hall of the Unborn Moon, you will find 1 health fuse, 1 energy fuse, and the Augment Ritual Mask. It doesn't consume energy, it just gives you a cool effect over your face for... How was that game called? Wait, let me look in my library. World of Horror. You will gain a little effect like in World of Horror over your vision. I really need to play that game one day. Let's continue onwards. If you fight with Iskander or are allied with him, if you ally yourself with Iskander, then the PSR and PSR elites will break into the room and they will hold 6 FB Tantals in total. There are also 2 more elites on the outside which hold 2 more FB Tantals. The communist insurrectionists, which are on the outside, hold 6 TKB 022s each, and Iskander Dzugashvili, if you choose to fight him, will drop the Sword of Stalingrad as well as a Communist Party shotgun. Once you're done there, you can carry on to Factory 27. There will be a handful of Topileks if you go the Iskander route. The Topileks will hold 4 APSs. Inside of a locker at the bottom there will be a 12 gauge package. There will also be a handful of corpses on your way to that milk inside a bag of milk inside another bag of milk area. These corpses hold an Yugoslav M53. And once you're at the elevator shaft, you have to fight against 18 Topileks, which hold 18 APSs respectively. Then, as you continue onwards to the laboratory, you will find inside of a locker on top of a bridge where there's like a giant hole. So you have to go around that, or no, you have to jump over that, I think. There will be a health and energy fuse. You are able to kill Irena Kazimierz. She will drop a TORS 36 as well as a sick blunt in the cremation chamber. There will be a killing gun as well as a dual wield augmentation. A lab worker which just stands there and has no dialogue holds a Makarov as well as a sick blunt. The Polish elites that will spawn hold a Karabina Polon as well as PKM. The PSR soldiers you will fight hold 8 FB Tantals as well as 1 PKM. Captain Tomas holds the keycard for the rail line computer in the factory, as well as a Type 81 assault rifle. Again, this is a unique weapon. I think it's even a Chinese weapon. Once again, it's a unique weapon and you should definitely take it with you. It's not a lot of gameplay you get out of it, but, you know, unique weapon. Then in the weapon chamber, you are able to get a small and large battery, a health and energy fuse. Also in the lockers, there will be a 8mm Mauser ammo, as well as a small and large battery, and a pack of 9x 18mm Makarov. In the priest room, there's nothing, and the priest also holds nothing. The civilians hold nothing, and the PSR extremist bartender holds a Makarov inside of his inventory, but he also sells you 6 vodkas and 5 beers for 20 zloty each, a health and energy fuse for 140 zloty each, and a small and large battery for 50 zloty each, so just like in the artist town. The extremist Polish soldier holds a rifle number 9, MK1, and the other one holds an RMB 93 Lynx. Lieutenant Balthazar holds a rifle number 9 MK1, and once you enter the Undersea, you are able to find an RPG 7 and 3 RPG rockets on a table. Oh, and one last thing, the girl from the tutorial was called Sophia, and she holds as well, or at least Sophia's sister, holds a PP 2000. And that would effectively be every single weapon in Peripeteia. I know I kind of half-assed it, but yeah, I had 30 other different videos in the pipeline, and I really wanted to get this done because I already wasted an entire weekend to just collect all of the weapons, and I still need to cut all of this. And I just thank you very, very much for watching this video. And if there are any weapons that I missed, if there are any things, comments that you want to leave, please write them into the comment section. And please like and subscribe. It would really, really help a lot. Thank you and goodbye.